Welcome back on Guard Army. Today we are going to be going over a new archetype, or a new spin on, I guess, an old engine, Dragapult EX paired with the Lost Zone engine. Dragapult EX is a absolutely fantastic new Pokemon from the Twilight Masquerade set that does 200 damage for 2 energy and spreads 6 damage counters however you want, which is insane. This 320 HP Dragon Pokemon has no weakness, 1 retreat cost, a 2 energy attack that does 200 and spreads 60, and a regular basic Jet Headbutt attack for 1 colorless that does 70. This card is absolutely insane, and the amount of damage it puts out for just 2 energies is nutty. So, paired with some other spread options and some ways to put some early damage on the field, I think this could be fantastic paired with the Lost Zone engine. In addition to having this absolutely fantastic new Stage 2 with no weakness and 320 HP, we also have the Drakloak engine added into the Lost Zone engine we already have. This middle stage Pokemon has the ability Reconnaissance Raid, or it's Recon something actually in English, this is a proxy for it, but it's Airmail, which if any of you played in like Sun and Moon era and whatnot, Airmail was a look at top 2 cards of deck, put 1 into your hand and 1 on the bottom of deck, which is great for being able to get through your deck without also needing a bunch of like shuffles in between every single search action, which I like, while also being balanced draw that can preserve your resources. So Reconnaissance Raid is the same thing, it's look at top 2 cards, put 1 into your hand and put the other on the bottom. It also has Dragon Headbutt for a fire and a psychic, in case you want to just hit for 70 with this attack. Although that's not going to be the thing you are doing in most cases, unless you absolutely need to. Then we've got the Dreepies, they're 70 HP lads, he's so happy to be here. It's got a 10 damage, slightly bitter attack for 1 psychic, and bite for 40, which is fire psychic. All of them having like an attack that just kind of like scales up a little bit of damage I think is nice. It has 70, which means that it's not just going to be wiped by another Dragapult, which is nice. So we've got 4 of this to be able to fill up our field as quickly as possible. And then we've got 4 Comfeys. This is the main engine of the deck. Flower selecting is look at the top 2 cards of our deck, put 1 into our hand and 1 into the Lost Zone. Similar vein as the Drakaloak's ability, but this one puts 1 into Lost Zone, which we are wanting to do in order to reach our benchmark numbers of 4 for Cramorant, 7 for Mirage Gate, and 10 for Sableye. Speaking of Cramorant, we are playing 2 Cramorant because we want the early game pressure. This helps a lot, especially in like the Dragapult mirror, but really against anything. We just want to hit for 110, get some solid damage onto the field, set up for like a 2-shot with the Dragapult itself, which is nice. And it's just a solid way to get some early prizes, whereas other Dragapult decks need to take a turn to set up in the first place. Then we've got the Sableye. This, in the late game, you can spread 12 damage counters across the board for just a single Psychic, which since we're already playing Fire Psychic, it's a perfect combination, paired with Radiant Charizard. So this is basically a Sablezard deck, but less focus on the Sablezard and more focus on the Dragapult. We can establish a 1-prize board state without needing to put Dragapult into play, and then only put Dragapult into play when it actually matters, when we need it most, where we can make our opponent have, like, an awkward prize map. Radiant Charizard is great because in the late game, as our opponent is taking more prizes, we can use Combustion Blast for less and less. So in the late game, for a single fire energy, we can swing for 250, which is perfect math for a lot of things. Then we have Manaphy. Wave Veil allows us to avoid our engine getting sniped by Greninja, or the new Greninja EX, so Greninja or Greninja. It doesn't stop damage counters from being spread, so we won't really be benching this against Dragapult, but it is great for being able to keep our engine established against decks like Chien-Pao, Greninja, Palkia variants, etc. Then we've got 1 Hawlucha. This helps us to be able to actually hit those, like, 70 damage benchmarks with the Dragapult spread attack, so we can ping something and then spread to it and then KO it. This also helps with our Sableye spread in the late game, where if our opponent has 270 HP Pokemon, we could ping both of them for 10 each, and then spread 120, taking the KO on both of them, which can be a great closer in the late game. Then we've got 4 Colress Experiment. We look at the top 5 cards of our deck, and put 2 into the Lost Zone and 3 into our hand. Or I guess it's put 3 of them into your hand and put the others into the Lost Zone. For example, in the late game, if there's like 4 cards left in deck, you could Colress, put 3 into hand and 1 into Lost Zone, or if there's less than that, you just put all of them into hand. So, for Colress, this allows us to get to our benchmarks a little bit faster. On the first turn of the game, we are generally going to want to go Flower Selecting, Colress, swing with Cramorant. That's generally the game plan, so we can put early damage on the field. We have 2 Ionos for a bit of disruption. We could theoretically cut an Iono for a Roxanne. 2 Ionos has been nice for at least having a little bit of extra draw in the early game if we happen to not hit the Colress, but I could definitely see going down an Iono and up a Roxanne, maybe even down a boss and up a Pokegear in addition to going down an Iono and up a Roxanne, so we have like a 4-1-1-1 of different supporters. We've got 2 bosses here. I'm considering Iron Bundle, but at the moment our bench space is kind of tight, so we fill up our bench space super quickly, so I don't know if we actually want Bundle. If we do include Bundle, I think we cut down to 1 boss, because we already have plenty of Gust in this deck, and Bundle kind of acts as an additional Gust. But for now, I have 2 boss in here, just for the consistency of being able to hit it more frequently. Then we've got 4 Buddy-Buddy Poffin. This grabs us both the Comfey and the Dreepy. It also grabs us the Manaphy. Theoretically, if we were playing something like Scoop Up Cyclone, it could also grab us Hawlucha, and then we could Scoop Up Cyclone Hawlucha and then put it back down to ping. That's a consideration if we cut Prime Catcher for Super Scoop Up. I think that could be a play that we go for, but for now, I really like Prime Catcher because it's an additional switching effect and it also lets us pull up something of our choice. Then we've got 2 Nest Ball for being able to search out any of our basics throughout the game. This grabs any of our stuff aside from Drakloak and Dragapult. Then we've got 1 Ultra Ball, which can grab us our evolutions, any of our other basic Pokemon, or can put that Hawlucha into our hand so we can bench it and ping something. I really like the 1 of Ultra Ball here, it helps a lot. We've got 4 Switch Cart, because most of the time we're not really going to have an evolution stranded in the active. If we ever have an evolution in the active, we could always just attach Retreat, because everything is 1 Retreat cost. But in most cases, it's just going to be 1, because if it's a Drakloak and we're promoting Drakloak, it's because we're about to evolve it into Dragapult, attach and swing, so we won't actually need the Switch Cart for that. Switch Cart helps with all of the damage that's going to be spread with Dragapult being super relevant in the meta, so Dragapult spreads to, like, a couple of different things to try and set up for knockouts. We could always Switch Cart between them to remove the damage from the field. For example, if they spread like 10 to Comfey, a little bit more to something else, just to put it in range of another 60 or something else, we could always Switch Cart off the damage, which is always nice. Then we've got 2 switches. We wanted to have like a nice 6 regular switch count, and then we also have Prime Catcher and Jet Energy, so I think this count is completely fine. Then we've got 3 Mirage Gate, because we actually don't need to Mirage Gate a lot in this deck. Our only attackers are really a 2 energy attacker, a 1 energy attacker, and one that can situationally be 1, but we can always accelerate more with one of our 3 Mirage Gates. So I think the 3 Mirage Gates are completely fine here. We also have 2 Super Rod for being able to get back any of our Pokemon throughout the game. Most of the time, we'll be able to maintain our resources using the Recon ability to be able to put either energies onto bottom of deck because we want to be able to accelerate them off Mirage Gate, or other resources back on bottom of deck that we can access later. Then we have 2 Rare Candy for being able to jump from Dreepy into Dragapult in a single turn. This helps for if they try to focus down our Drakaloaks, which may happen because they want to target the thing that's the biggest threat to their board. So being able to jump from Dreepy into Dragapult definitely helps in a lot of matchups. We've got 1 Counter Catcher because with the way this deck is, against some of those 2 prize decks, they're going to be pressing against us a little bit early, so they're going to be swinging a lot faster and taking prizes faster than we can, which means that after they've taken those early prizes, we could always Counter Catcher up a better target to be able to hit it with Dragapult. We also have Prime Catcher, as I said, as an additional gusting effect that also switches for us. So we can Prime Catcher into Comfey, flower selecting, retreat into Dragapult, swing into the ideal attacker. Or into the ideal Pokemon we want to swing into. We've got one Rescue Board. This is our only tool in this deck. There is an argument for Defiance Band and Devolution TM. Those are two I'm considering, but for the sake of space and consistency, this is what I'm going with for right now. This allows us to pivot throughout the game. The only thing with higher than one retreat cost is the Radiant Zard, which, if it's not dying after you've swung with it, that's good, because it means they didn't KO your Zard, or they gusted something else and then you can re-promote the Zard and KO. We also have Artazon for being able to get down any of our basics aside from Radiant Charizard, and Temple of Sinnoh to be able to turn off the special energies against Lugia. This helps with turning off Legacy, making it not able to be a rainbow, so they can't spam Iron Hands, and for when we take a prize against it, the Legacy's effect doesn't go into effect, so we actually take both prizes instead of one less prize than we were supposed to take. It also stops Jet Energy, Gift Energy, and Mist Energy from working, which is why we absolutely need a Temple of Sinnoh in this list. The Jet Energy, obviously we're only playing a 1-of here. Yes, it's turned off by Temple of Sinnoh, but having a 1-of Jet Energy option when we only play one Sinnoh is a nice pivot option to have. So we still have a Jet Energy here. Theoretically, you could cut it, maybe for an additional Fire, additional Psychic, or something else. You could cut it for an entirely different trainer piece or something. And then we've got 3 Fires and 3 Psychics, which is great for being able to set up all of our attackers throughout the game, including Super Rod to be able to manage our resources and get them back. I hope you all like this list. I really like it so far. Definitely some tweaks that could be made, a lot more testing that needs to be done with this list, but give it a shot. I think it's a ton of fun. It has a lot of different routes that you can take throughout a game, and I feel like it's super unexplored at the moment. So, hope you all like this list. If there's any other lists that you like from Twilight Masquerade or want to see a list on, feel free to comment them down below. Comment also below what you think I should maybe change about this list. Do you think I should play a Devo TM? Do you think I should play Defiance Band, Roxanne, etc., etc.? There's a lot of different inclusions we could put into this deck, and I want to hear your thoughts down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you all later. Have a good night.